Hello everyone and welcome back to Acei Urban Planner here in this new city that we're gonna call New Metro City. And yeah, I know that we were building Metro City and maybe you are asking a lot of questions. One of them maybe is, where have we been for such a long time? And I have a quite nice story to count to you in this episode. This is not gonna be a normal episode. This is gonna be like a recap of where I am right now in the channel, where I am right now in the city that you are seeing that we are doing stuff very differently and a very new city. But the thing is that we call it New Metro City because we're gonna be trying to recreate what we had in Metro City, and that will maybe cause you a few more questions like why you are redoing Metro City if you already have a very grown city called Metro City. The thing is that I lost my save game, and yeah, maybe that seems to be like an old story, but I'm gonna explain you in a brief what's happening in the channel and what's gonna continue happening in the few weeks that are gonna come and go. And yeah, we are building this new Metro City because we lost the save game, and even though that I don't have the footprints of what I've built in that other city, and I don't quite remember exactly what I have done, I just know that I love that city and the thing that we were able to accomplish in there. And I'm gonna try to recreate all the good stuff that we had in there, even the bad stuff maybe, but I'm gonna try to do the same that we were doing in there so we can continue like the same aesthetics that we have in Metro City, like using these modern assets, modern buildings, mix it with all these old brick buildings that we have, like New York style and that. And that's what we're gonna try to do in here, the same that we have in Metro City. And here comes the other question: what happened to the old Metro City? Why have you been all that time off? And the thing is that it all started with my computer setup. If you have read the description of my video, you notice that I have all the time been playing in a MacBook M1 Pro. This is the computer that I have been using since I decided to start the channel. The previous one that I had was an Intel Mac, and the good stuff about the Intel Mac that I think that is the same thing that the guys that created City Skylines thought, is that it's easy to code in that architecture, and just having a few switches, like something that maybe accomplish the stuff to be able to run in a different operating system like what is in Mac. It's not the same exact game, at least in all the stuff that happened outside of the game, like the save game and all the stuff, but at least inside the game everything feels the same. But when Mac decided to go to a whole different chip like the M1 and decided to leave behind all the Intel chip Macs, the things got a little bit different. For MacBooks or Mac PCs to be able to run City Skylines, they had to run an emulator in second phase to be able to translate the code of the game that was made in an Intel architecture and to be able to play it in this Mac. It doesn't mean that the game will run optimally like what it should be working, but it really run very okay. The game was very smooth, and I don't think that we had any issue with that. But apparently the guys from Paradox Interactive decided that they won't make a game that is not optimized exactly for that architecture that is very different. Imagine that you have to pay a whole team to code a game for Xbox, a game for PS5, and a game for PC, and now you have to pay an additional team to code that game for M1 Max. And the thing is that not everybody is already aware of how to code a game in Mac, and maybe that's what made them decide to not bring the game Cities Skylines 2 at the launch to the Mac and the Mac architecture. When I was trying to pre-order my game, I decided to check the system specification, and then I realized that there was no specification for Mac. And I went to the forum, and they said, Colossal Order said in the forum that by now they don't have any timeline to bring the game for Mac. And yeah, that made me feel very sad. I was very uncomfortable, and I didn't feel like I wanted to continue playing the game and bringing you content, because I knew that at launch day I would have to sit and watch everybody playing the new Cities Skylines 2 game, and I was gonna have to wait maybe for a whole year, or I don't know. But I didn't want to wait for that, so I decided to embrace and to get a new setup. I was starting to build my own gaming PC, and that's why I took that long time off, because I didn't feel like I wanted to continue playing in the Mac, because I knew that in the gaming PC I would feel a lot better, the environment will feel better, I could get more mods, because playing in Mac, even though that we have the same game, some of the stuff that make playing harder on Mac is that some of the mods don't work the same. I couldn't be playing with dynamic resolution. I had to configure the patch loader in a whole different way in the way that you in PC do. And yeah, there was a lot of things that I had to do to be able to play the game smoothly. I couldn't use FPS booster, and a lot of mods were not working in Mac. So yeah, that's why I decided if I'm gonna have a desktop that I'm gonna be playing in, I'm gonna focus in building my desktop, and then I'm gonna start playing the game all over again. And even at this moment, the game, since my Mac wasn't powerful enough to run it smoothly, the city was very big, and I was having some FPS issues. You could see it in the series of Distintia, that when I ran to a certain point in the city stopped working fine. The FPS was horrible, and it makes you feel very bad playing a game with bad FPS, and that's what's happening. Not that massively, but that was happening in my Mac in Metro City. But right here we are currently trying to build the city once again, trying to do something appealing, and trying to build, this is not gonna be the same city, but I'm trying to build something that feels like the Metro City that you already know. I am fixing some of the issues that I had in the other city. Some of them were because of the setup that I had. I told you, some of the mods, some of the assets bring errors to the Mac, and even to the M1 Mac they bring some errors. We had to dig into the game and sort some of the crashes that occur and it's harder to play in Mac. But right now I have a setup that I haven't finished, but I am able to play it. I have a PC, a gaming PC that is made out of a Ryzen 9 7900X, and I have a RTX 3080 Ti, and all the other stuff. I had 32 gigabytes of RAM, and I feel very happy about that. The game runs very smoothly. The loading time is like a third of the time that with the previous setup that I have in the Mac, and yeah, I feel very nice. But I had to get used to this setup that I have, like playing with a mouse. One thing that most of the users of Mac are very comfortable using the trackpad, and you get very used to use that trackpad. You feel very nice with that. But right now, since I have a mouse. You will see in the game, maybe not in a time lapse like what you're gonna see, but if you see the game in slow motion, you're gonna see that sometimes I struggle with the cursor a little bit. This is one of the things that I had to get used to play with a mouse, to play with a separate keyboard, and the new keys that I have, like page up, page down. There's a lot of stuff. Sometimes maybe if I don't cut that in the time lapse, you're gonna see me going to the setups to see where are the keys or which keys I have to use in Move It or in dynamic resolutions, all that stuff. Because in a laptop, in a MacBook laptop, you are lacking a lot of keys and a lot of stuff that you have here in a Windows or gaming PC, like what you can see here. Where are we going in this next step for the channel? I think that I'm gonna try to build as much as I can of this city of Metro City, because our time is running backwards. We are just 2 months shy from the launch of City Skylines 2. I have already pre-ordered my copy of City Skylines 2. I don't think that I'm gonna stop playing City Skylines 1, because I think that I'm very in love with some of the mods, like procedural objects, like I don't know, network multi-tools, Move It, node controller, intersection marking tools, ploppable Rico, and all the amount of assets that we can find in the workshop. I am very into all that. Some of the time, since the setup is brand new and I don't have any of the assets that I had in the previous one, sometimes I go and I want to build something, and then I realize that I don't have that asset, and then I stop the record, save the game, go back to the workshop, download that asset, and then come back and place it. That's one of the things that I'm gonna miss when I am playing City Skylines 2 when the game launches. So I think that from time on time, to continue doing some interesting series, I'm gonna be playing maybe for a few more months City Skylines 1. But I think that I'm gonna start from the beginning, making some vanilla series, and when the mods start launching on the workshop, I'm gonna integrate into the game, and I'm gonna maybe do some stuff with some of the mods. But by now you're gonna see me playing on Metro City at least for 7 or 8 more episodes, because we have 7 more Saturdays before the game launches. So we're gonna be here. I'm gonna do my best to be able to deliver you some quite nice episodes, something interesting, something different, something that can inspire you to play the game. And yeah, I'm learning with you as always. I was learning with you, but right now I'm learning from this new setup that I have. You're gonna see that in the time lapse, in a moment, all the image gets a little bit darker, because that's the moment when I realized that I could use other mods that I wasn't used to, and I don't know how to configure them safely to work with the PC, like dynamic resolution. I'm gonna watch some videos and see what I can do with my current setup, which is a very good one. I don't fear that I'm gonna lag from frame rates, at least until I get to a huge city, because that's always a possibility. But I need to get used to these new mods, get better configuration for them, and yeah. But I'm loving what I am doing in here. I'm loving the new setup. I'm getting very quickly used to that. I'm just very impatient to be able to deliver you some good stuff like what we were doing in there. So I'm gonna work my best to deliver you something a little bit big, a little bit nice for the next episode. So we're gonna continue with Metro City. That's gonna be the same number. I'm gonna put in the name of this video New Metro City, so you can see when we change from the Mac setup that we have to the desktop Windows setup that we have right now. And you can maybe say, oh, why this is happening in here, why this looks so different. Oh no, that's because he changed his setup and he's starting all over. But I hope that I can bring you some big changes to this small city that we have in here in the next few episodes. So if you have seen or paying attention to the build as I am talking to you about the channel, you have maybe noticed that I started from the same point that I started in the previous metro city. I made the toll booth over the entrance, the control entrance with all the military presence, the drones and all this stuff. And yeah, I was more smooth on making that in here because I really knew what I wanted to achieve in here. Some of the stuff looked very different, some other stuff looked very similar, but I think that I got the thing in here that I wanted to get in this entrance. I wanted to feel like this is a very secure entrance. Everybody had to come through here and being checked by all the military that we have in here. Then I moved to make the police headquarters, making that a little bit functional, even though that is a PO building, but I placed some cubes and a helicopter landing pad to be able to start moving this area with some helicopter and all of that are gonna be like drones. I think these are like drones, these are not helicopters. All that thing, we're gonna fly around the whole city. Then I moved to the city where I wanted to build the central hub. You can see that I moved very far away from the gate, but I realized that what I was doing was not gonna feel like a hub, so I decided to stop. I wanted to place 4 stops, but at the end I just placed it 1, and I think that we're gonna end with just 2. I'm gonna maybe erase the other 2 platforms that we have, and I'm gonna stick with just 2 in here, and maybe the central hub we're gonna make it in another part of the city where we get more space and a better space to place some big buildings and stuff like that, as we had in the previous metro city. So for the next episode, I hope that I get the right idea of how I'm gonna improve the previous hub that we had, that was very nice, very beautiful. I think that was one of the best creation that I had in this game, was that hub. But I'm gonna be here always to make stuff better and more beautiful. Since I have this very nice setup, I think that I'm gonna get the best out of that in that central hub that is gonna happen in the next episode. So as you can see in the final part, I just placed a small community that will bring a little bit more movement to the area, because they are separated from this central area where the station is, and they don't have road access to this area. They just can come to here through the train, and I was struggling to make that train to work, but at the end I was able to make it work, and you can see that we are moving a lot of people. We spent a lot of time to detail this area with all the stairs, the elevators, the gates, the ticket booths, and all the stores inside of the station. Maybe you can hear a little bit of rain, but yeah, that's stuff that happened. And yeah, I took my time to do all that and make that function to have a lot of movement. And I think that stuff in Windows runs a little bit better and easier than in Mac. That's my feeling. I don't know if it's a thing to go with me. The game runs exactly the same in both setups, but I think that in Windows stuff get to work easily, or maybe faster. I don't know. I felt like it was easy to make people move from one side to the other around the elevators, around the stores that I had in the second floor. And yeah, I don't know if that's a thing of me, but I felt like here stuff are gonna be working more than in the Mac. So I'm gonna leave it to here. I have talked a lot. This is not the type of builds that I tend to do. This is not the type of episode that I tend to do. I tend to just talk a little bit and give you some music, some time lapse, some cinematics, and be here just at the end. So we're gonna go back to that style maybe for the next episode. I just wanted to explain you what happened in the channel, why I have been a little bit absent, and explain you what's gonna happen in the city, in the channel for the next few episodes. So I hope that you stick in here, that you apologize me and stick with me, giving me all your support, because I think that in the next few months we're gonna be able to be one of the top guys that make videos out of City Skylines, because we're gonna be in City Skylines 2. This is gonna be a fresh start for everybody, and I hope that you help me with that to get to be one of the top YouTubers that play City Skylines and put videos about City Skylines 2. So stick with me until that time, because you're gonna be the most important part of this journey that I'm gonna start in City Skylines 2. So it's gonna be until here. I'm gonna leave that until this moment. See you in the next one. Take care. Bye bye.